One of the easiest ways to understand how new customers are finding your software company is to just put a required field within your sign-up form of how did you hear about us. This is a tactic that I've used for years, and it's always shocking to me to look at this data versus the analytics data that we are seeing. And the big learning or the big shift that's happened in the last year and a half that I've noticed within all the data that I've seen is people are putting the source of the discovery as being social media. This is a massive contrast to even 3 years ago. And again, I work in the B2B space, so there's always a delay coming from what's happening in direct-to-consumer to B2B. But with this in mind, this transition from these old channels like search or SEO to these new channels like organic social, it's really hard to put an ROI number on organic social as a channel, whether that's founder-led marketing or you going and sponsoring creators. But how I'm personally starting to think about this as the measurement of success is the branded search that's happening over time. So when people discover a new product on social, the first thing that they go do is they go and Google that product. And when they search that brand name, we can actually see that within our Google Search Console data. And so for me, this is basically the trailing indicator for a new discovery that's occurred for the product. And this has quickly evolved over the last 6 months into being the only thing that I'm starting to care about. Is branded search going up month over month for the company? And again, just to hammer home this idea why this is so important and why I'm focusing on this is because it's the trailing indicator that the activities that we're doing on social is creating new organic search. This is also a very defensible thing for you to do. It's very hard for your competitors and the incumbents to take away the branded search that you've developed, that you've created, that you've cultivated over the last X amount of years. They're going to have to bid on that brand name. That's really the only way that they can take that from you. And so it creates this moat, this defensibility. And this is why it's a really good investment when you're thinking about how you're allocating your marketing resources, which is time, money, and mental energy. All right, so hopefully I've convinced you that this is the strategy that you need to be thinking about when you're coming into 2026. It's basically, how can I increase organic searches for the brand name? But finally, what I want to show you is how to actually track this. You can actually see this data and you can show this within your analytics, so it can be a KPI that you're tracking and reporting on internally within the company that you're working at, or for the company that you're working on if you're a founder. All right, so to track these branded searches over time, what we're going to do is build this chart that basically is taking your Google Search Console data and then it's extracting impressions that contain your brand name in any format. So this is super easy to do. For this demonstration, I'm just going to use graph.com, which is my company. Now we're going to rebuild this chart. So let's go do that real fast. So the first thing I'm going to do is just select the data source as the Google Search Console, and then I'm going to prompt build a chart showing total impressions over time for queries containing graph. I'm going to put that in quotations. Now for whatever brand that you're working with, you can just do this variation. Now I'm going to hit send message. So the agent's now working. It's basically just building that chart out in the background and writing the code that's necessary. All right, this is a couple seconds later, and that chart's now built. So I'm just going to click into that. And that's it. That's how easy it is to create this reporting, to track those impressions over time. And then your job, your goal is basically, how do I increase those branded searches over time through whatever levers I have available to me? And I hope you found this content valuable. If you're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, subscribe now. It's what keeps the lights on here. And if you have questions about this, please comment below in the YouTube video or DM me on LinkedIn and Twitter. I'd love to learn your thoughts or your questions around this. All right, that's it for today. It's just a short one.